This I just put as not Sleeping Beauty. Okay, you mooks, gather around, and I'm gonna tell you a tale, alright? Way back when, think about the time that the new deli opened up a few blocks away. You know the place. Patty's Hyman, right? Anyway. Well, there was this new family in town, see? They wasn't too up on the local customs, which is a bit of a problem. You see, the don of this gang was about to be a papa, and his wife was all up in arms about making a good first impression. So, being the busy man he was, he let her make all the arrangements, ordering food, getting the hall, inviting the guests, you know, the works. Problem was, there weren't enough supply going around, and she had to make some cuts to the guest list, if you know what I mean. See, the thing is, some cuts just ain't to be made. And when you're trying to get in good with the local bosses, you gotta respect all of them. You can't go picking and choosing, you know. Now see, there's this one boss over on the other side of the tracks. Not a bad guy if you's on his good side, but he got a bad rep. And is notorious for being pretty busy, so the Donna had it in her little head, it best not to disturb the man. Feeling he might not even show, chose to be the one to cut. Yeah, that's when the shit hit the fan, because he got wind of the party, and he was a bit miffed to be cut out of the deal. So here's what went down, see? 12 little pissa bosses was invited. Old boss 13 weren't none too happy. Yeah, the 12 yutzes gave their gifts, you know the deal. Beauty, talent, guaranteed big knockers when she grew into them. Yeah, the head of the biz and bod for sin. All of her after she gets to her Dolce Massimo. You know, when she's all legal and whatnot, if you catch my drift. Anyways, the 11 of the boys got the job done when in burst the old badass himself. He clearly ain't looking happy about being on the invite list. The Donna, being the mouthy broad she is, goes on about figuring he was too busy and thought he was a big deal going down or not wanting to interrupt, which was all fine and good, but seeing as the boss knew about her putting in the orders, one of which being one of his gigs, he knew all the deets. You thinking you guys can pull the wool over on me? Only sending out the invites and leaving mine out. Your orders went through my establishment. Did you think I wouldn't find out about this? Sorry, Don Folletti. We didn't have enough space to order places for all of you. And we were rushed to the hospital before we were getting ready. My wife was already having a child. Gio della figa! The table all sounded aghast. Pardon my manners. I get a bit upset at people who don't show the proper respect. Now I see there's 12 places, so there's that empty spot on the end of the table that could have been for me. Now give me a plate and this all gets cleared up. Sorry, we don't have 13 plates. What do you mean you ain't got 13 plates? You know what? For dishonoring me on this day of your daughter's christening, I'm gonna put a curse on her and use whole family. How about that? No, please, it was an oversight. It will never happen again. We will name our next child after you. A son! No matter. The dark-suited fairy strolled over towards a cradle where the baby girl had been receiving her blessings and gifts. So here's the deal. You got a nice little girl here. It'd be a shame if she were to, say, prick a finger on a spinning wheel sometimes before her Dios Vigésimo. She's gonna take a long nap with the fishes, capiche? He leaned down and kissed the baby's forehead. Too bad. She could have been a good looker. He looked back at the Don and Donna, tipped his hat, then vanished into a burst of acrid black smoke. The Donna fell into her husband's arms, crying and sobbing, until a little bookish man peeked back out from the empty spot on the table. Pardon me, is the boss gone? Oh, thank goodness. Now, I'm not nearly as powerful as Fleddy, but I might be able to cook the books a little on his curse. Do what you can, please, I beg of you. Well, if you honor me a favor to a place to hide out, I can take the girl away where she won't need a wheel. Just keep us in the green and I'll keep her safe. I'll see if I can loosen the hex a bit too. Maybe, make it so it's not a dirt nap. I mean, I don't think I can cancel it out all the way. Just rig it a bit in our favor. Please, please, do what you can for our daughter Alba. I'll do my best for her. Well, you kids know what happened then. The little bookie took the kid and headed off on the coast away from the city and all the business. Let me tell you, when it came down to fishing, this girl was a hell of a tosser, singing to the waves and getting as many as she could haul. I mean, not that it's a dame's work to be doing that kind of labor, but the bookish little fella was too busy trying to keep things under control. Well, a nice pretty girl like that, looking the way she did, is gonna get a lot of looks. There's this scruffy kid from the docks that came around and helped her haul in a few times. Nice kid. I didn't think he was all that great looking, but she seemed to think so. Anyways, this kid was actually the son of one of the bosses down by the pier, so he knew his way around a fish net, if you know what I mean. Kid never let on who his old man was, 'cause he didn't want to scare Alba off or nothing. Kid was head over heels for her, though, so one day he defies his old man and asks her to hook up. She was tits over tea kettle about it, running home to tell old Bookie. Bookie wasn't having none of it. Listen here, little girl, Alba, you're already promised. It's been that way since you were born, and there's no how you can marry this scruffy hooker. Alba, of course, was all tears and torn up over it, but she respected Papa Bookie more than anything, and went out to tell the kid about it, except when she got there, where there was to meet up, he never showed. She went weeping home to old Bookie, who was busy packing up the joint. Well, Alba, I'm sorry for not telling you the truth all these years, but your father is a Don back in the city, and your marriage was arranged when you were a baby to help out the city and all her people. I was asked to keep you out of harm's way all this time, but it's time for you to go back to your familia. I'll do what I must for the familia, said the good girl Alba. So they get back into town and settle back at her family's home. They were all glad to see her and welcomed her with open arms. Even her little brother, who she never met, Foley, who was a right rascal. Yeah, he was named after Don Fay Filoti, but Filoti hadn't forgiven the Don and Donna for the insult. But anyway, it was about a week out from her. Despite warnings, Alba was wandering the neighborhood on her own, free as a lark, when she thought she spied the hooker boy over by one of the markets. Well, things ain't easy walking around the market, and running through it ain't the brightest of ideas either, especially when you don't know the area. Albert ends up turning down a back alley and crashes into a stall selling spinners. Well, bada bing bada boom, she gets a jab from a spinner and she's out like a light. So, fortunately for her and us, because she was looking like a Sally stick pin on a bender and up for, whatever you want. Old Bookie found her before any of the lechers could and brought her home to her papa. Oi, her papa and mama were knocked for a loop. The Don nearly choked the living shit out of old Bookie for failing to keep his little girl safe. That's when it hit old Bookie like a shot. I did a fix. The Don didn't want to hear him, but his old lady did and begged him to stop choking him. What kind of fix did you find? Old Bookie tried to straighten himself up a bit. See, there's this thing called a true love's kiss. It'll break any curse, I swear. The Don stared daggers. Then why didn't she wake when I kissed her? I love my daughter with all I am. Boss, it ain't that kind of kiss she needs. I mean the kind you give your wife. The Donna blushes brightly. Then old Bookie shakes his head. No, 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 not that kind of kiss. He wipes his brow a bit with his handkerchief. Like someone she's in love with and loves her back. That kind of kiss. From the back of the room, you can hear a kid's voice calling out, "We're boned." Yeah, Foley heard the whole thing. Well, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. He might have been reacting to see old Don Faithfulity coming down the way and a few of his men from the dock. Now, some of you kids might be seeing where this is going. Shut up and don't ruin it for those who don't. Filati and his men burst into Don's little family establishment and looked around. Well, boys, this is it. This is a new place, seeing as there ain't going to be an around to run it. Filati just walks forward and leans to kiss Donna's hand. My sincerest apologies for what's gone down, but business is business, you see. What do you want, Don Filati? Asked the Don. Why, I came here to see certain curses and wishes fulfilled. And that's what a Fairy Godfather is meant to do, he smiled broadly. What do you mean, asked the Donna. Well, I figured since the little bookie cooked my curse, I would grant another godchild's wish. He grins again, then glances at Foley. Donna rushes over to her son and kneels looking at him and shaking him roughly. What did you wish? What did you wish? Mama, I wish that if Alba fell for her curse, I'd never have to hear my family cry about it. Young Foley answered softly. Wish granted. Don Filati snapped his fingers, and all the familia fell silent, then tumbled to the floor asleep. Foley crying softly as he watches, then falls asleep himself. Come on, boys, let's peruse the new dates. Old Bookie, who had made himself scarce, kept watching the Don and his men rummage the restaurant for what they felt like keeping. But he noticed one of the men hanging back a bit and wandering more to the living area. The young man, now out of view from the rest of the mob, furrows his brow, seeing the young Alba laying on the table in the dining room, as if for a wake. Sobbing, he leans over and caresses her cheek. Alba, if I only knew that this was what you were meant for. Old Bookie appeared quick next to him. Your hooker. That's what she liked calling me. I'm Philippe, Foyetti's son. He looked at Bookie. I guess I was late for the wedding. Not at all. He looks him over. Look, kid, if you want to save her, you're going to have to kiss her. Philippe raises an eyebrow, then shrugs and leans down, only to find Bookie's hand covering her over her lips. Not out of wedlock, you mook. Then he gives a sharp backhand to the degenerate. Ow! Philippe cried out. The men in the front of the establishment turned to look where the sound was coming from. Listen, boy. By the power vested in me, do you swear to honor, cherish, love, and keep this girl until you die? Old Bookie looked at him seriously. If not longer, Philippe said, nodding. Fine by me. A voice sounded from the door. Don Foyetti coming into view. A warm body's a warm body. Old Book from the other side looks at the two, then mouths to Philippe. Kiss her. Philippe leans down and kisses Alba's tender lips. Her eyes flutter open and she kisses him back. Whoa, wait, what's going on here? Don Foley moves closer, then sees Alba's eyes open. Then he turns to Felipe. You're breaking my heart, boy! Then he clutches his chest and falls to his knees. This is the girl I proposed to, father, the one I wish to marry, Felipe answered. What? No, you bastard kid, you wished it? He clutches his chest more, falling back. His men look into the room, then scatter, rushing past the reviving familia in the restaurant. If your mum was still around... Don Fariy falls silent, then lays prone on the floor. The Don and his daughter rush into the kitchen to see their daughter standing, holding hands with Felipe, and old Bookie smiling as he just fades from view. The familia embraces father, mother, daughter, son, and now son-in-law. And you knows what? They lived happily ever after. Now get your butts to bed, Bambinos, before I tan them for you.